Now the next objective is to understand days calculation. Basically, our objective is to understand how much is the billing applicable for each of these row. Remember, this is the lowest row. Coming back to the thing, here is a standard rate card for each of them. Here is an employee, and for each of the employee, we have already brought what is his offshore rate and on-site. However, when that particular person is working onto the project, which is shown here in project team, how much money will you charge for his services to this project? This project is there for each project, for each of the row, how much charges will be there? It will be dependent on, two things. Number one, what is his on-site or offshore rate? It will come from, obviously employee ID and employee master. So for 30611, if I go to employee master and put a filter to 30611, how do I do? Take this drop down, 30611. If you click onto that, it will show that this employee is Hemant Gupta and his rates, are 3200 and 4200 for offshore and on-site respectively. And these rates have came because this guy happens to be senior developer. That's how this is there. So you need to go ahead and in project team bring his or her on-site and offshore rate from the employee master. That is step number one. So let's call it as on-site rate per day. Just to be very clear, we'll write it in detail. On-site rate per day. She could be also offshore. So offshore rate per day. These are the two rates I will actually go ahead and fetch here. Now, does that help me to go ahead and calculate how much is the money I need to do? Remember, it will be basically taking this rate multiplied by number of days he is working there. So these two, there are, dates. So call it as a days here. So we need to calculate days here. We'll be putting some formula, which will go ahead and link it here. And then finally, I will be putting billable amount. How would that get calculated? Number of days multiplied by the rate. However, there is a catch here is at which rate, on-site or offshore? It will be dependent on this location. So that's the approach. So let's solve it into steps. To begin with, on-site rate and offshore rate. How do I bring? Obviously, by now we are master of it. Call it as X lookup. Look at it here, X lookup. What do you want to look up? Obviously, the employee ID. And now we are going to be smarter, not going to go to that table. I am going to directly write EMP master and it will come there. I am not going to, switch to that sheet. He's saying lookup array, where do you want to see? I want to see the employee ID into that employee ID field of the employee master. Remember, try to understand the difference. First, at employee ID say that in this table. The second one, employee master employee ID, says that you want to search it into a table called as employee master, and within that a field or the column called as employee ID. Okay, comma. Now he's saying, what do you want to bring from there? No worries. Let's put EMP master because I know it is there. Now, the moment you give the square bracket, you will find all the fields are here. What out of this for the given employee, what do you want to bring? This is the on-site rate. So I will just double click this on-site per day. I need to close this square bracket because it was started. Similarly, I need to close the round bracket, which is for the X lookup, and all the rates are here. So it is coming. For example, the first one we noticed it was there. Now, if I want to do it for the second one, I will not actually go ahead and redo everything. Control C, I will go ahead and do the copy. I will say Control V, which means copy. And this time, the only thing that rather than on-site rate, I wish to bring offshore. So again, comma, EMP master. We are being, little bit lazy, call it as lazy or call it as a smarter so that we don't have to type the whole thing again. And rate offshore, square bracket complete, round complete. And we are here. For everyone, we have got his or her rates there. Then number of days. There are two ways to look at the days. Number one is date is a number. As you know, in Excel, date is stored as a number. So when it is a number, you can subtract. If I say something is a number, I can subtract. So how do I say dates is equal to allocated up to the date till which this guy was working there minus the date from which he was allocated. If you take it there, you will get number of days. However, the catch about this date is that these are the days, calendar days. They are the complete days, counting even Saturdays and Sundays. And preferably in the projects and all that thing, you would not be paying, or the customer may not be interested in paying you for the Saturday and Sunday. He will, like to pay you for weekdays. So I will go ahead and hit Control Z, okay, twice, which means undo. What do I do? Then I use a function called as network days. Type net and it will come. Network days into square bracket, which is the start date. I'm going to, this guy is going to work from 1st of April, comma, which is the end date up to. And now bracket close. And you will find this 67 is now turned to 50 because there are so many holidays, weekends there. So that's how we did it. And the last one is relatively simple. This days multiplied by one of these two numbers. How do I decide which one to take? Obviously, I'm going to use if is equal to if. See, if this, which is a location, is equal to on-site. I am sure you would have watched that video on the if, which says clearly how do we. So if it is on-site, then pick up this. If it is not on-site, then obviously it's going to be offshore. Those are the only two possibilities. So click here. Now, this will only bring appropriate rate. Just we'll hit the enter. This is not billable amount. Just we'll hit enter. See, 42 because it's on-site. But here it has taken 23, which is offshore, and 52. Basically, based on that, he is picking up. However, that was not our intention. Our intention was to multiply it with number of days. Multiply with days. It has came there because it's a number. It's better to format it as you know. I have already explained it to you. The formatting the number with 0 decimals with the comma will make it more readable very easily. For example, it says that for first person services from 1st of April to 7th of June, only for 50 working days, he will be charging 2,10,000 because it's on site and so on. So that's how he has done all the things. We'll try to now summarize this back. So far we have broken it down. We are going to summarize it into the next video. Practice this whole thing. It's very important. And we are going to do a lot of analysis with this.